You, of course, are listening to the MHA podcast. Why in the world would you play Isaiah McKenzie over your third-round pick, T. Higgins? Why? I like any quarterback that can make Will Fuller look good.
I love it. I think he's a top 20 receiver.
I mean, he is the Jamar Chase whisperer.
Oh, hell yes. Oh, my God.
You know, everybody loves Lamar Jackson.
Hated it.
I trust Derek Carr.
Come on. For real?
I know why you did. It's because you're crazy.
It's still the week and the games aren't even over yet. It's great. It's fantastic.
Fantastic.
It's fantastic.
Patrick Mahomes. Looks so good. Kyle Pitts was bad. Stank.
It's not my shebang. Justin Jefferson.
So good.
We could call him Russell Wilson if you want.
Ooh. Well done, sir. That is good stuff. All of those guys have more fantasy points than Tom Brady. I'm laughing, but I'm crying at the same time. It's terrible. All right, you're listening to the MHA podcast. We're going to talk about week 3 here this Tuesday evening. Eric Lansing, Mikey Renault, Todd Diamond here with you. Guys, how are we doing tonight?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
All right, that sounds good. How about you, Mikey? You feeling pretty good?
I'm always feeling pretty good, but I'm feeling extra pretty good. And I think everybody knows why.
Yeah,
Hey,
I think...
one question. Does anyone want to borrow some points? They're all...
there
wow.
it is. Wow.
Yes, Mikey, very humble this week. And for every reason, so you had a pretty good week. All right, well, let's get into the news.
I don't understand what the news is. It's just like, hey, here's a bunch of you can't fix that happened that was horrible.
I don't have a ton of news. I looked around, and I mean, I get to see a lot of what happened on Sunday. So if I miss something, you guys can let me know. Obviously, the headliner is Chargers wide receiver Mike Williams out for the season. Tore his ACL, placed on injury reserve. Now it's time for Todd's boy, Mr. Quentin Calvin Johnson, to step up. You ready? You excited for that, Todd?
Absolutely. I'm about to prove a lot of people wrong. It's gonna be great.
Is he right, Mikey, or is it time for Joshua Palmer to step up?
I feel like it's time for Joshua Palmer to step up. They'll both get run, but I think Palmer above Quentin Johnson.
Another torn ACL. It's more defense fantasy than anything, but we saw Cowboys defensive back Trayvon Diggs tear his ACL. He's out for the season. Does that scare you as the owner of the Dallas defense?
Yeah, I mean, if that 0 points is any indicator of what their defense looks without him, I mean, whew.
Arizona, right? They lost to Arizona?
Right. Poopy.
Weird. Trevor Siemian, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if he really matters in the whole fantasy aspect of things, but someone's got to be the starting quarterback for the Jets, and it might be him because Zach Wilson, still not doing well either. Trevor Siemian. Let's do this. How about Derek Carr? He's also hurt. He may not play this week. He was actually started on a fantasy roster this past week and then was hurt. And then Jameis Winston next in line. Should we be excited about Jameis Winston and Chris Olave and now the offense and Mikey Alvin Kamara, right? He comes back next week.
Hallelujah. Been waiting for that second running back spot, and hopefully I finally have got a solution.
So there you have it. Any other news that I missed? Any other injuries? Or, I don't know, people getting cut, traded? Who knows?
Broncos suck. It's okay.
Yeah, the Broncos don't look good.
Nope.
But some of the fantasy guys did really well against them this week, and we'll talk about that as we go through. Let's get into the week 3 recap. We'll start things off with the lone undefeated team in the league, Kilgore Trout. He squeezes by the Lemonheads, 121-119. Kirk Cousins, the leading quarterback scorer in our league. He scored his second straight 60-point game. He had 63. Not much else I could say about Joe's squad, except he had 0 from his Jaguars defense, but it didn't matter. Lemonheads fall to 0-3. CeeDee Lamb, just 6 points, 2 points from Hunter Henry, and 6 from Kieran Williams. Eric's team has scored the second fewest points in the league. Congrats to Joe, who's now 3-0, the only 3-0 team in the league. The highest scoring team of the weekend was, as you heard, probably the Hot Tamales, 191 points. Justin Herbert's had 40 completions. That is absurd. 3 pass touchdowns, 400 yards passing, 75 total fantasy points. Keenan Allen also scored a lot of points. He piled up 36, thanks in part to Mike Williams leaving the game due to injury. And how about Raheem Mostert, the second most running back points in week 3? Yeah, the second most, even though he had 42. 191 points by the 2-1 Tamales. Belt Sanders didn't have a bad day. 22 from Tyreek Hill, 26 from Kenny Walker, 19 from the now injured Mike Williams. Had 154 points, but that's not much you can do when that much points are scored on you from the opposite side of the net. The NWA, they got their first win of the season. Buffalo's defense scored a whopping 33 to lead NWA to a 158-144 win. Actually, you know what, Mikey? Talk about your win. I'm sorry, I went right by that. Go ahead, talk about it. It's great.
No, you can go by that.
I'm excited for you.
Well, I mean, you know how sometimes you get those notifications on your phone from the Yahoo app?
No, I don't know what that's like, so tell me.
Where when you score a touchdown, it just pops up. It was so crazy because at one point, like, it just my phone was just blowing up time after time after time after time. I'm just like, holy Moses. Like, points were accumulating so fast, I couldn't keep up with it.
Must be nice.
Well, congrats. And as we mentioned, NWA, big day from Buffalo. Picked up the 158-144 win. Jalen Hurts got just enough on Monday night. Scored 44 points. Nice day from his running back duo of Isaiah Pacheco. You like him, right, Todd?
Yes, I do, actually. Put a trade offer out there.
Yeah. So exciting. We'll see if that goes through. Nice day from his running back duo of Pacheco and Jerome Ford. 30 total points. Notorious CUP got a season-high 54 from Patrick Mahomes while getting 28 total points from A.J. Brown and Chris Olave, but 144 points, not enough this week. Both teams, NWA and Notorious CUP, 1-2. Zach Moss continues to do it. Scored 21 points. Tutu Atwell racked up 14, and Lion Rip edges out the defending champs 134-119. Gonzo Cats got a combined 5 points from Derrick Henry and T. Higgins. Not much else to say about Lion Rip's amazing... Oh, not much to say about the rest of the matchup. I mean, you could talk about Lion Rip's amazing wide receiver duo of Michael Pittman and Cortland Sutton, who scored double digits from both sides. Lion Rip 2-1, Gonzo Cats 1-2. We had another tie on the season, and it's tie number 2 for Dylan. The Butterfingers matched Cooper Cousins' point total of 124. Todd's 49ers started things off right for him on Thursday night. Brock Purdy, 49, 20 from first-round pick Christian McCaffrey. Dylan's team had 68 points from their starting running backs and wide receivers, 19 from Jamar Chase, his best outing of the season, 18 from Deebo Samuel, who didn't have Brandon Ayuk on the field. Travis Etienne and James Conner both reached double figures. Todd continues to be right about Mike Evans, I guess, who scored 14 points. And his total from Monday night tied things up with Dylan. Butterfingers 1-1-1. Cooper's Cousins 1-0-2. Todd, let me know what you're thinking about your team.
Well,
or the matchup, whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah. First of all, need Aaron Jones to come back because Kareem Hunt, that was missed that one. Drake London thought I was like, okay,
did you miss it? I don't mean to interrupt.
You're fine.
But did you miss it? Did you have other options? No.
No, I mean, I could have gone.
When you told us the options, it was like, no.
He did, but
he didn't start Matt Breida.
Well, no, I was more saying like he second guessed himself because originally he put in Tony Jones Jr.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he did, and he changed it at the last second. I mean, had he left it be, he would have won.
Oh, Doe of the Week candidate.
It's on my list.
Lovely. But yes, I need Aaron Jones to come back, and hopefully he'll come back this Thursday, and everything will be right with the world. But other than that, I mean, the fact Purdy and McCaffrey and Evans, those 3 guys, I mean, are just every week, automatic. I mean, obviously Purdy finally had scored more than 30 some points, which is great. But at the end of the day, the Evans thing, like you said, Eric, right on that one. Woohoo! Proud of that one. And then McCaffrey's just been automatic, whether touchdowns, or yards. So again, a tie is what it is, and not a loss, but I just have to go forward. So I'm in a good spot with my team.
I will say
Mhm.
your Musgrave pickup paid off. I mean, I know it's only 8 points, but with the tight end world the way it is, that's better than most. So that ended up. I mean, you didn't lose, but I think Musgrave was a decent pickup. Final
Thank you.
matchup: Chad Powers Fan Club improves his record to 2-1 after taking down bitter rival Eaton W's by a final of 133 to 110. Kevin's team needed a big Monday night for Matt Stafford to make things interesting, but the Rams quarterback failed big time, just 30 points. To end any hope of a comeback, Miles' wide receiver combo of Justin Jefferson and Devontae Adams was stellar. 53 total points. Their combined stat totals were 20 receptions, 3 receiving touchdowns, and 321 total yards. Travis Kelce came to play for his lady friend in the booth. 16 points, his best output of the season, but his wide receiver trio of Garrett Wilson, Terry McLaurin, and Chris Godwin only scored a combined 21 points. 2-1 for Chad Powers, 0-2-1 for Kevin's team, who has scored the least amount of points in the season. And those are your matchups from week 3. So we mentioned Todd's dough of the week, but you could have, if I would have left Darren, you talk about last second, I took Darren Waller out like 10 minutes before the game started. And if I would have left him in, I'd at least have tied Kilgore Trout. But
Also on my list.
so who do you think should get it? I would say me just because I'm 0-3, but let's let better heads prevail or cleaner thinking heads prevail. Eric's not in a good place right now with this team. So what do you think?
Well, the third candidate I had was Dylan, actually, because he could have played Alexander Madison or Adam Thielen over Jerry Judy. He would
Yeah, I
have
saw
won.
that too. Both. I guess I wasn't mad about it because I figured that game was going to be a shootout. And I know Thielen had a good week the week before, but he'd been done. I don't know. He just wasn't high on my list, I guess. But yeah, that's a candidate. Who do
Yeah.
you think out of the 3 should win? I vote me. Who do you
I
vote
vote
for?
I vote you too.
All right, so we don't even need to ask Todd. Eric wins dough of the week.
No, 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 no.
All right, so that felt good. Let's talk about our stars of the week.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
And since Mikey scored about 1,000 points this weekend, I'll let him start.
Oh man, this was so difficult. Like, who do I choose? Who do I choose?
Just say your whole team, Mikey, so we can move on to the next one.
Nah, because I kind of want to let you guys choose somebody from my team too. So let's keep this
Oh.
fair.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go with Keenan Allen, and the only reason I'm gonna choose him is because his touchdown, it wasn't what you would expect. It wasn't a receiving touchdown. It wasn't on a reverse. It was a touchdown pass, which is kind of funny. But I mean, 18 receptions. Like, for a second there, I thought he was gonna come close to breaking the receiving record, because there was at a point in the third quarter where he had like 14 catches already. Um, yeah, 36 points is just tremendous. He's the top receiver in our league right now, which is amazing.
It is amazing. Leads the league in receptions with 32. He is third in yards at 402. He even has 2 touchdowns, which in the past we've seen Keenan Allen not be a big touchdown guy. But then the 3 with the one he threw apparently too. So off to a tremendous start. Justin Herbert obviously was huge. 75 points. I just reeled off his stats. It's hard to ignore what he did, especially where Mikey drafted him. He went out and got him and thought he might have a good season. 45 points, 53, now 75. And he has the Las Vegas Raiders next week, who are just abysmal against passing quarterbacks. So looks like Justin Herbert's in for a really, really big season. Todd, who stood out to you?
I'm going to go with Zach Moss for Aaron's team. 21 points. I mean, that Colts team is, I mean, obviously they have Minshew in there as quarterback, but Zach Moss, another. I mean, obviously had a big goose egg week 1, but week 2, 18, now 21. I mean, I don't think I saw Zach Moss doing some stuff like that. So I mean, 122 yards rushing. That is, I mean, especially against Baltimore's defense, which I have. I mean, that's impressive as itself right there, because Baltimore's defense is always good.
Yeah, I'm seeing here 30 of the team's 35 rushing attempts. He's catching passes. He is the number one guy in a not a great offense, but as you mentioned against Baltimore, to be able to do that and pick up stats and the volume and even with a backup quarterback, yeah, good for Aaron. That was good because that was a free agent pickup. So, and it worked out big for him. Mikey, I mentioned Herbert. So your turn. Who's up next? Who had a big week?
Raheem Mostert, 42 points. He's now the number one running back in the league,
Yeah.
which no one could have possibly seen that coming. I mean, he slid pretty far down in the draft. And he really didn't even play much in the second half. The second half was all pretty much Mr. Achan. So he got the majority. I think he had like 30 something at halftime, which is just ridiculous. Yeah, pretty incredible week for Mostert and a lot of those Dolphins players.
11 fantasy points in week 1, 25 in week 2, 42 in week 3. And you were, I hate patting you on the back, but I mean, you were high on Mostert even in the preseason, and you ended up with him. And obviously, he's not going to put up that number every week, but I mean, he has been productive in that Miami offense. They were looking for a running back the last few years, and they have a bunch of less than average guys. And we thought maybe Mostert would also kind of be in that average mix, and maybe one week it would be Achan or Justin Wilson or Salvin Ahmed, but Mostert has pretty much been the main guy in this Miami offense that has just been tearing defenses apart, including our very own Broncos. Todd, who else stood out to you as one of the stars of the week?
I'm gonna go with Kirk Cousins, 63 points. He just it's like every time, every season, off season, when we rank Kirk Cousins, the way he puts up fantasy points in every single week, it's like you almost want to put him number 1, because just the way they throw the ball in that offense, and just he puts up, like putting up 50 and 60 points like he's like breathing. It's amazing. So Kirk Cousins, I mean, it's at some point, I think one of these days we're all just going to rank him number 1, because like he's the best one, because he throws the ball the most. And regardless, I mean, whether it's Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, but Kirk Cousins Kirk Cousins just gets drafted later in round, which is always amazing. And he always kind of finishes in the top 10 or top 5 of fantasy quarterback. So 63 points.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, it sounds like you want to rebuke it.
I I don't know what to say, because Todd's got me a little flabbergasted here.
Because of the number 1 statement?
Yes, like never is that going to happen, by the way.
I know.
But yeah, he definitely deserves to be on the top performers, because what he's doing right now is incredible. But one of these days is going to be number 1. Never.
I know.
Mikey's not a believer.
It doesn't mean I'm not a believer. I'm not a believer that he's ever going to be number 1.
Well, he's number 1 right now. If you're talking about, is he going to be, if we're doing a redraft tomorrow, is he the number 1 quarterback gets picked? Probably not.
Hell no.
But he leads our league in completions. I think he leads the league in touchdown passes on top of that. Yes, he does. He leads the league in passing yards as well, and has lightened up the league. Tampa Bay's defense, Philly's defense, and the Chargers defense. So big time numbers from Kirk Cousins. Who else have we not mentioned? Gosh, we went through Devontae Adams.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I know I did it. I was like, nah, he'll drop. Whatever. I mean, come on, Jimmy Garoppolo. Are they going to be able to really do something? I mean, he's another year older. There's just younger guys I'm going to pick. And man, oh man, Devontae Adams again. Just 33 points, helping Chad Powers fan club, who has probably the best wide receiver other than Aaron, obviously, with Michael Pittman and Cortland Sutton, who continue to do every week. But Justin Jefferson and Devontae Adams is just stellar. And they carried Miles to a win over his best bud eating W's over there in Kevin. And so I know that first week was just 9 points. Like, oh, here it is. Here comes the downfall. But against Buffalo, he put up 16 and then just had 20 targets against Pittsburgh's defense, which is just nuts. And just give him credit, man. I don't give him enough credit for how good of a wide receiver he is, despite the crap load of quarterbacks he's had the last 2 years. So good for Devontae Adams.
Well, and I always say, like, when I talk about
Todd,
Devontae
you can't
Adams,
say shit. I apologize for swearing, but you didn't draft him.
I know, but I'm just
Who'd
saying.
you draft? Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones.
I can't say I didn't draft him either, but still.
I mean,
my draft pick makes it. Well, no, maybe it doesn't make sense. Forget it. Get what I said. Moving on. Moving on. Let's talk about the duds of the week.
This is the worst. You are the worst. I hate looking at your face. I want to smash it.
So I just love that drop. Todd, who'd you want to smash this week?
I'm gonna smash and keep smash, but Najee Harris, man, 6 points. Ugh, gross. It's just proving my point. Sucks some more. I know it's Pittsburgh offense is not great, but 5-5-6. Ooh, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. I'm sorry. Oof.
I think that thing that stands out the most. It was 2 years ago. He had 70 receptions. He's got 3.
Yeah, because
they have a quarterback that throws the ball a lot. They don't throw it a lot to him.
Because they're not, because this is the Devontae Adams situation too, a little bit of, 2 different spectrums. I get it. But if you really want to get everything out of your, one of your best players, I know this is easier said than done. I say this a lot. You got to force feed them the ball every way possible to get them the ball, because that's the only way they're going to get in the rhythm. Like if you don't try to force feed them the ball, you're gonna get results like this. You're gonna only get 6 points, and that's the wrong way to do it. That's the wrong way to do it. You even if it's just you're dip and dunk down the just get them in a rhythm and just get them targets and get them the ball any way possible, you'll get better results. But when you just like, well, let's spread the ball around a little bit, or no. If you believe Najee Harris is a focal point of your offense, you got to get him the ball any way possible. It's plain and
Here's
simple.
my problem with your argument there. Maybe he's just not good.
Okay.
Like, he's an average running back.
Mm-hmm.
He's averaging 4 yards a carry, which is less than NFL average. And they bring in Jaylen Warren, who's picking up some of the slack, some of the carries, some of the attempts. Maybe just Najee's not good.
Well,
I don't know. I haven't seen a lot. I've seen maybe one Pittsburgh game, and he's not explosive. He's not out there juking guys. He doesn't have like that Tyreek Hill jerk type of maneuver. He's just a big guy, not like fat or massive, but he's just got big shoulders, and he's just gonna run around, maybe break a tackle here or there. And
and I'll say
looking to him to catch the ball right now.
True, and I'll say this: even going back to, college is different, but even back when he was in Alabama, he wasn't. He would catch the ball out of the backfield, but catching the ball out of the backfield in college in the competition is different. But he wasn't. And to your point too, he wasn't that elusive to begin with anyway. If that makes any sense, like that wasn't his thing to do. Like, he would catch the ball out of the backfield, but he was really fast. But he didn't have that. That kind of that juke move, that kind of like, juke you out of your shoes kind of, moves.
Well, we probably spent too much time on a guy who has 16 total fantasy points in 3 weeks, but definitely a dud. Mikey, who pooped in their pants this week?
Number one on my list was Derrick Henry.
Oof.
Uh, yeah, 2 points, 20 yards rushing. And what worries me more is he got out snapped by Tajay Spears 27-18. And I don't know if the way that the game was going kind of leaned into that because they were getting blown out by Cleveland. But I don't know. That's just not a good sign. It's probably one of the worst games I think he's probably ever played.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with game script. Because I mean, he had 15 attempts in week 1, 25 in week 2. Okay numbers because he had a couple completions or a couple catches, excuse me. But yeah, for them to be trailing the whole time, that's just not how Tennessee's going to win ball games. They got to give him the ball. He needs his volume. He needs to wear defenses down. He didn't even have a target in this game because I'm sure it was just Spears because they needed backs that could catch, and he's notoriously known for not catching a ton. I mean, his peak is like 35 to maybe 40. So, but that is a scary number, and he's got tough defenses coming down the line here.
It's just
I'm not saying anybody should panic, but go ahead.
18 plays. That's like a first or second preseason game.
Yeah, yeah. And I know he was dealing with a toe thing before. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I thought he was dealing with some sort of injury before coming in. I don't know if that played a factor. Yeah, he was dealing with some sort of toe, but he was full participant in practice. I don't know if that makes a difference, but yeah, it's not good. It makes if I was, I mean, I'm not the owner, so Gonzo Cats have to figure out what they want to do, and it's kind of staying with Gonzo Cats team. I hate to pick on him, but T Higgins, and I mean, we could still the Bengals offense was a little better last night, but he had 2 big drops, and like in his hands, easy catches, and just kind of disappeared. I mean, he had that big 24-point game the week before, but had 0 on 8 targets. I don't know if I'm sure it's a combination of he's not performing as well as he should. Burrow obviously doesn't look healthy. He only had 34 fantasy points. I mean, Jamar did well. Joe Mixon did well. But there's something to say about T. Higgins, who is a highly touted draft pick. And you've seen it. I'm not super worried about it, considering we're still early in the season. We saw Cincinnati deal with some early hiccups, especially with that offensive line last year, and they turned things around. So I'm not super concerned about Higgins. But this past week, where he's dropping passes and Gonzo Cats needed those catches and maybe a touchdown to beat Aaron, not good for him. Todd, back to you. We're talk about some losers from week 3.
We're going to go with Mark Andrews, only 5 points. I know we talk about tight ends and, you're just lucky you get something out of your tight ends, but Mark Andrews is one of the top tight ends in football, and only 5 points, especially against Indy. Whew, like that's not good. I mean, I can understand like my tight ends, I pick up off the street, maybe might like to say, who am I chasing for touchdowns this week? But Mark Andrews is, a high draft pick and, probably, second best tight end, and only get 5 points against Indy. Eek.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, you have to start him. And
Yeah, no, I agree with
yeah, and right, and I get it because like he be performing better based on where he was drafted and based on the pedigree. I heard this. I don't even know. I was listening. I shouldn't. Anyway, I was listening to a podcast, whatever, today, and so I'm not going to take credit for this, but they're saying their thought was Zay Flowers has come in and kind of taken some of those inside the 10 routes away from Andrews, because usually you have the guys like Marquise Brown who would go deep and that would open things up for Andrews in the middle. And obviously running the ball is difficult for them. And Zay Flowers has been the more kind of 5 to 10 yard route runner and kind of taking some of those receptions away from Andrews. So not much you can do with it, unfortunately, just because tight ends are where they are. But yeah, didn't have a great day it was kind of it was 14-point difference in a loss to NWA. So tough there. Cooper's Cousins, I'm going to pick on his tight end a little bit. Man, he keeps rolling out Cole Kmet every week with no problems, except the problem is Cole Kmet can't score points. I don't know why he doesn't try someone else. I understand that He is the Justin Fields guy too, right? Doesn't he have
Yep.
Justin Fields? So what is this fascination with the Browns offense that is just straight garbage that he's running out?
Bears.
What did I say?
Browns.
Browns. Sorry, Bears. So I feel like there's options out there. Maybe
Yep.
there isn't. But I mean, he has had 7 fantasy points. So he had an okay game 2 weeks ago, but then 5 and then 3. Let me just do it. I'm just going to go to the free agent wire and see if there's better options out there. And there may not. And so maybe I don't know what I would try to do to get someone. I mean, you have Donald Parham is out there who's had better years so far, who's had 10, 1, and 14. Yeah, 14 after the fact. But I don't know, man. Cole Kmet, that is not good tight end play.
Yeah,
So
I
that's I just
and
saw
as
that and it just jumped out at me like Cole Kmet again. Why?
yeah,
But okay.
I mean, I gave up on Dalton Kincaid, after week 1, and he's a
That's
better.
different.
I know,
Yeah, right.
but
Right. Kincaid is a better option than Cole Kmet.
yeah, but I'm just
You shouldn't
saying,
have dropped him, but
like,
that's a different story, I guess.
yeah. But I'm just saying, okay, if it's not working, go, whether you go chase a tight end who scored a touchdown. I know that's my MO, but yeah, Cole Kmet.
Mike, who else was pitiful in week 3?
CeeDee Lamb.
I didn't get to see that game. I saw the final score. It didn't look like, and this goes back to my Dak isn't good conversation, but what did you see? What happened there?
So and the reason that I put him on here, 6 points, and these receivers are going to have down games every once in a while.
He's
But
had 2. But go continue.
but your team, which I feel like after the draft you felt pretty good about, especially those first couple rounds. And you talk about your first 4 or 5 picks. I mean, your team is a mass unit right now. With Barkley being out, Burrow being hurt, Waller sucking it up, Jacobs sucking it up, Christian Watson's hurt. Like you would hope. I don't mean to pile on. You would
Pile
hope
on.
that CeeDee Lamb, could come through. And the fact that you lost by 2 points, which was heartbreaking too, because you lost at the buzzer basically on a 3-point.
I wasn't trying
catch.
to bring that up, but yeah, go ahead, bring it up.
Three
Make me feel
point
even worse.
a 3-point catch by Puka Nacua. But yeah, CeeDee Lamb. I mean, you gotta get more than 6. Gotta.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look and see if he even had a 6-point game all last year. I felt like that was one of the things I was super excited about. He was always so consistent, and he would be consistent with 9 to 15 points, and then he'd have these big games where he scored 2 touchdowns. And Arizona, I thought for sure the points would be flowing, but from what I understand, and I don't know this, I didn't see the game or the highlights, but Dak did not look good. So what a surprise. Dak screwing me even when he's not on my team. Who I mean, let's just keep going with the Lemonheads, man. What about Kyron? I keep saying Kyron or Kieran. I think it's Kyron Williams. But 6 points in a week I really needed him. This guy has had 2 great weeks previously, and flipping Matt Stafford. I know this goes back to Kevin because this is Matt Stafford was terrible. But how many times did he throw it to Kieran and threw it like 10 yards above his head? Like 7 or 8 times. Like if he would have just caught 1 or 2 of those, I would have won and had my first win of the year. But every time he would just throw it far. I mean, he's not a tall guy. I get it. But the first 2 weeks, he was tremendous. I believe it was over 20 points in both matchups. Yeah, 17 and then 25, where he had 12 total targets. He had 7 targets and 2 receptions. And yeah, so and give credit to Cincinnati's defense. There was a couple times Kyron had an opportunity at the goal line, but they stuffed him. So
even at the end when they ran him when they shouldn't have.
Yeah, because they needed they still had more to play for it. I thought, okay, maybe they're just trying to catch everybody off guard and give it to him and then it'll bust it in. But he's also not like a big dude, so whatever. It's fine. Todd, any other losers you had on your list?
that was pretty much about it.
That was
I
it.
didn't have any more.
Mikey, do you have any more?
No, that was my list. Henry, Lamb, Higgins, and Harris. So we got to them all.
Yeah, I wrote down Devonta Smith because he had a tough week. but he was incredible the previous 2 weeks. I also put Derek Carr, but I didn't realize he got hurt until later. So he may have just got hurt and didn't play. So let's go into next week's matchups. Undefeated Kilgore Trout 3-0 taking on 1-2 Notorious CUP. 2-1 Belt Sanders battling 1-2 Gonzo Cats. The matchup of the week, probably 2-1 Lion Rip versus 2-1 Hot Tamales. 2-1 Chad Powers fan club facing off against 1-1 Butterfingers. 0-2-1 Eaton W's going up against 1-2 NWA and 1-0-2 Cooper's Cousins, I guess considered also undefeated, gearing up against 0-3 Lemonheads. So there you go, week 3 in the books. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we get out of here?
Yeah,
Fantasy football, y'all.
I just want to mention, like, at my pace, I'm averaging 165 points a game.
That's amazing. Congratulations, Miguel.
I don't like to toot my own horn, and I'm a pretty humble guy.
Oh, really? Now that's funny. But
Go ahead, continue.
It's pretty good and would be record breaking if I could keep it up.
Yes, it would be record breaking. And I hope you keep it up. I hope you win it all. I hope you win the fantasy baseball this week. I just hope for all the best things in Mikey's world because it's going so well for you right now.
Isn't that just fantastic?
Todd, any last words before we get out of here?
No, just, trying to see if I, no more ties, no more ties. Just, I want to get a good win this week and keep going.
And keep going. Is that what you said?
Keep going. I don't know. Keep going. Not have my team keep going strong. Power through.
He's getting his Aaron Jones back. He is getting super excited about Aaron Jones coming back. And they play on Thursday, right?
Sure do.
Wow, it's
against
a quick
Detroit.
turnaround.
Yep.
Well, there you go. Week 3 in the books. Week 4 coming up here. The Mile High Affiliates Fantasy Football League. We'll catch you next time on the MHA podcast.